Hello everybody and welcome to another weekly roundup, the show where I just look at the last week of news and see if there's anything worth reporting. There was slightly less this week than last week, so expect a shorter episode. But you seem to like it, so here we are for episode 2. And let's start off with the biggest flop so far, and that's the Metaverse. The boneheaded mistake that Zuckerberg is still just going on with, even though stock has gone down 70% or plus over the year. And he's just had to lay off 11,000 people. It's such a failure, but he is still going on with it. He should cut his losses by now, but he isn't. Why? No one can see this going well. Only him. It's like NFTs. Only people trying to money grab think it's a good idea. The general public hate them. Like Metaverse. General public think it is not good. Even with a graphical update, it is not as good looking as it should be by now. Even though it has more features than VR chat is still better. And we all know the shit show that is VR chat. Even the people it's targeted towards, like influencers and like people, VR people, don't like it. They're the people that you should be getting on board. But when they put on their headset and get into Metaverse, they just think it's unfinished and it looks rubbish. It's really far off. And if over the last year the stock prices have gone down by 71+% by the time this is coming out, it's going to be probably the end of Meta if they carry on with this. Laying off people. Well, I think that's kind of a trend recently. If you're a billionaire, just lay off your staff. Like what Elon has done recently, he's laid off loads of people, and I don't know, he is acting with Twitter like he's a new mod in a forum from the early 2000s. Let's just test features, and if they don't work, we'll just move them again. It's like he's working with the early days of the internet. It's a fully fledged platform as it is, and he's still pissing around with it. Like recently, well, we might as well move on to the Elon news then. Now we've gone through the Metaverse is failing. Let's move on to Elon. So the pay-as-you-win of Twitter Blue being the new verified tick has been rolling out. There is actually two types. There's the grey tick, which is the I paid for this, and then the blue tick, which is the I'm an important person. When it first came out, it should be that if you're an important person and you paid, you should see the blue tick and not the grey tick. But it was around the wrong way for a beginning, for a little section. There were people like MKBHD and Ludwig, etc. had the grey tick, even though they should have had the blue tick, because paying is actually useful for I'm able to edit my posts and the undo button basically. And that's why, like, for example, Ludwig paid, is because he made a mistake on a tweet that, I might as well pay. He paid, but you can't retroactively go back, even if you're inside the 30 minutes of you posting, and edit an old post. So he paid $8 for nothing, and just to get a grey tick, even though he did have a blue tick. It's all a load of rubbish right now. And there's the whole banning people that were previously verified, that have changed their name to be Elon and their profile picture, and the whole I'm a parody account. And there's a lot going on where people are impersonating Elon, like big comedians as well, and just getting banned. But yeah, it's a rough time to be a billionaire right now. You are smack bang in the limelight, and they just aren't dealing with it well. And then there's the whole situation in Australia right now, because I think it was last month, a group of hackers hacked the Australian Medibank insurance company, and there's a ransom for releasing Australians' medical information. And Medibank went, "No, you haven't got information. What are you on about?" And they were wrong. It's all come out now. The hackers have made a naughty and nice list. So naughty, like drug addiction and stuff like that, and then nice as in just as the normal little normal little checkups. So medical information, usernames, passwords, the whole lot, your location, everything. That's what they have. And they have it for big names, so like politicians, and other famous people and musicians. They have a lot. Yeah. Of course, work is now started to get your details back now that they know they do actually have your data, but still, there's not much you can do about it now. It's already out there because the company involved called their bluff and there was no bluff. And at the moment, about 40% of you have had your records leaked on the dark web, and there's going to be more, apparently. So that's just where I'm going to end it. I can't go too much further into this because I didn't have all the detail. Nobody knows exactly what they have. That's where I'm going to leave it. Let's just move on from that. In other hacking, leaking news, Pokimane almost got leaked her nudes. Wow. It's different, but you'll see when I get into it. If you don't know who she is, she's a big influencer and streamer, and this is a really creepy story because, right, let's start off. First, it starts off with her getting a email from a company claiming to be Niwai. She has previously said on stream that's the underwear that she wears and she finds it comfy, etc., etc. And the email goes into, we saw that you liked our stuff. Maybe you'd like to be involved with the next release of our next underwear. Like say, get like a special deal with that. And there was it went backwards and forwards, just talking to them all the time, just seemed pretty normal conversations apparently of what she's had to deal with in the past. And there was a big presentation, a big PowerPoint of like a really well done PowerPoint. And when it came down to it, they need to get a measurements because of course, if you want to wear our stuff, we need to know your sizes. And this is when it turns.
And I go to take my measurements, and that's when I look at the email with the diagram they sent me and everything, and I realize that they weren't showing me how to take my measurements. They were asking me to put tape measure around me and send them a photo of my bare chest. No company is going to ask you to send them a photo of your yitties. So that's when I realized this whole time I've been speaking to a scammer.
Because when someone asks for your measurements, they do not want pictures of you holding up a tape measure across your breasts. It's kind of sus. As sus goes, it's kind of sus. You can say which measurements you want, and then you get the numbers, but not pictures of them taking the measurements. That's not right. Just be careful out there. Don't fall for these. I'm really glad that they asked for address at the same time as the measurements, instead of them actually having her address, because that'd be bad. Just be careful out there. And now, speaking of crazy, in the US there's a toad licking problem. Apparently, according to the National Park Service, there's a real big problem with people just licking toads, specifically the Sonoran toad or the Carolina River toad, I believe it's called. It's apparently the second most toxic toad in the world, and it has some glands on its back that secrete toxin, which is supposed to ward off predators. But apparently Mother Nature didn't realise how fucked up humans are with just wanting to get high, and it's now a real big problem that people are just licking these toads. In the toxic, there is a chemical called DNT, which people think if you lick it, you just become one with God. But the thing is, it's a myth, but also true. because it can kill you. There's many painful side effects that people are getting over this myth that you'll get high, which you will not. You will just have severe problems. And yeah, the National Trust has basically said, stop licking things you find in the wild. Because that drug is also a class 1 drug in the US. Mind you, so is marijuana, but still, it's illegal. Very illegal. And because of all this, these toads are now endangered. Because of just do mushrooms like a normal person. Just stop licking toads. And that's the end of it. I'm not going to go into the midterms that are going on right now in America. If you haven't noticed, I'm also not American. So I'm not going to be going into the midterm voting and all of the headache that happens with that. I don't talk about other countries' politics. So I'm going to keep myself out of that. And yeah, that was this week. If there's any stories that you think I missed, put them down in the comment section below. It was a pretty slow week because everything that I've seen has been about the midterms. So everything else has been shoved below the waterline. And yeah, just let me know what you think about stories as well, what I've posted and your thoughts on them. Just put it down below in the comment section. And yeah, if you want to see more, subscribe. And now I will probably be doing this next week as well. It seems like it's going to, from the initial pilot, it seems like it's going to be carrying on for a little while. And yeah, we'll see you next week for the next weekly roundup. Goodbye.